first opportunity to have a online chat with fellow officials at various levels with members of our leadership program in Kirkwood and Larry Krause to help guide us through a conversation, joined by Graham Skilliter of the National Hockey League officiating staff, resident of BC, but a product of Saskatchewan Hockey Association. So he's been gracious to embrace our program many times through different clinics and opportunities. So we thank you for joining us, as well as Dexter Rasmussen from Kamloops Minor Hockey and a member of the WHL staff. And I believe, if my stats are correct, Dex, I think you went to the level 6 in 2017 as a BC delegate.
Yep.
Yeah, 2017. So obviously as well, heavily involved through our program and working at the various levels that attains, as well as assisting us in development, not only in your home association when you were there, but also with our high performance program, lending Kirk a hand with leading our next generation of officials. So I'm going to pass it along to Larry and Kirk right now to guide us through a conversation.
Kirk, you want to start?
Sure. Thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate you being here. Just to echo Sean's words, let's start with this weekend. So several of our officiating constituents across the province come from officiating families. Dex, I know that's the case with you. Not sure, Graham, if that's the situation with you, but family, we know, plays a huge part in the foundational development of us as people, but also in terms of our skills on the ice. And so Rafe is an example of a guy who comes from an officiating family, a little deeper than some, with a mom, a stepdad, a brother, I think even a brother-in-law, right, Sean? Who've been involved in officiating and officiating leadership. So why don't we start this with you, Dex? How does family play a role here with you? And just talk to us a little bit about the officiating family experience that you had growing up.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of there's two parts to that, because as crazy as it is, that I've actually had two family experiences as an official. One is, growing up as being 12 to 18 years old, living at home, and then another now with a wife and family. And so they're both very different, right? I was never pressured or forced into officiating by my dad. My dad was a referee in the Western Hockey League. He was still refereeing minor hockey when I started. I had the opportunity to watch him in '98 in Nanaimo at the Royal Bank Cup, so that was pretty cool. I was 8 years old at the time. So yeah, my dad was actually very careful about how he separated being a parent and me being a referee, right? He would usually point me in the direction of a friend or, one of the other guys that he worked the Western League with, and point me in their direction for advice, so he could just be dad to me. And then now, transitioning into having a family and a job and being a referee in the Western Hockey League, I have to figure out how to navigate all those things and, have a grounded priority list. And I'm still having lots of fun. That's why I'm in the second. I'm done having fun. I'm in a different situation than Graham. Like, this isn't my career. So,
Graham, how about you? How's family a part of what you do? Obviously, it's different for you. You travel extensively. You mentioned you got a 3-year-old little girl at home. Tell us about that.
Similar to Dex, my father is an official as well. He actually just retired this fall, and I was lucky enough to go on the ice and lines the third period with him in SJHL game back home. So that was an experience we'll never forget. We worked one together probably 16 years ago was probably the first one we did together, and to be able to finish it off was pretty cool. So actually even longer than that, probably 20 years ago. So anyway, so I grew up in an officiating family. Like, my dad was heavily involved in minor hockey in Saskatchewan and Saskatchewan hockey and whatnot. So I grew up that way. Similar to what Dex said, I was never pressured to be an official, but I really wanted to be. Started when I was 11 years old and worked my way up through the ranks. And now, talked about kind of two different tiers of family for sure. Officials themselves, I think, are definitely a family. I found that I moved away from a small town to Saskatoon when I was 18 and was really embraced by the officiating family there. I have lifelong friends that a lot of us would know and stuff that just, that was we were and we still are a family. So, and now I have a 3-year-old daughter at home and wife, and that's starting our own family. They're a huge part of what I do, and it's an unwavering support, really, especially with the amount of travel that we do at all levels. And with me, I'm fortunate that it's my only job, not like Dex, where I have to go referee a hockey game and then go back to work as well. I don't have to do that anymore, which is nice, but the travel is extensive. So if anything, silver lining, this time's been a bit of a blessing to spend more time at home and get to help raise my daughter a lot more. So it's good.
Well, I'm thinking of Sean Raphael and fathers for the first time. And I wonder if now wouldn't be a great opportunity with Father's Day just a few days down the street, that Sean adds some of the best parts of being a father and what he's looking forward to this Sunday, the 21st of June.
Somewhat to Graham's comment, it's been unique the last 3 months. Normally I'd be getting text messages or video messages from my wife while I'm sitting at work or on the road of what's happening in my son's life and what new trouble he's getting into, and now I get to see it firsthand, and it's been unexpected insight into this that we weren't really planning for, and sort of like Graham said, the silver lining of everything. And I think there's still an element of it being surreal with Tennyson just being 9 months old, but it's something new every day. And I feel fortunate that while he won't likely remember, he got to see me skate at some point. I managed to hold on that long, but I really relate, and you can hear him in the background, but I really relate with Graham's comments as well, though, about the officiating family being sort of an extension of those at home with you. The support you need from home is so important, but when we're all away from our families on the road, that group of officials that we are with on the ice, in the cars, across the province, across the country, across leagues, really makes the time away from home that much easier, and to Deck's comment, a lot of fun.
Now, the next comment comes out of something that Dex said, and it's when you have a father that's an elite official, and obviously Graham's is as well, and when you have a father that's elite and goes to RBC Cups in Nanaimo and works in the old Civic Arena, I'm assuming that's where you were in Nanaimo, Dex?
I think so. I mean,
yeah. So in one of the old original buildings, just like the Kamloops Memorial and many across Saskatchewan as well. But what I'm getting at is you have, in a sense, followed in your father's footsteps. And as we all know, as fathers, we have strengths and weaknesses. And we apply those strengths and weaknesses the best we can, because some had great fathers and were great role models and gave us all the equipping and everything we needed, and others not so much. So my question to you first is, what words of wisdom did your father give you, and were they more for your life off the ice or on the ice, or both?
I don't think it was I wouldn't say words specifically. It was more so just support, right? Your mom and I are here for whatever you need. But also there was an element of if you're going to do something, you need to put 100% into it, right? If you want to get to, I think it's there's a big difference between being a coach and a parent. A parent you live with 24 hours a day at that age. So you have to separate that relationship. But at the same time, I think any good parent, if they want their kid to succeed and their kid wants to succeed, you have to push them, but you have to be careful about how you do that, right? So I think that's more a matter of providing an environment where your kid can be successful. You know, do you need a ride here, or do you need this? You know, we're running to the grocery store. I know my parents played taxi driver for a long, long time, right? So a lot of times it's just that car ride home. Maybe you have a bad game and nothing needs to be said, or maybe, you know, that person's there, they're the sounding board. And a lot of times my dad wouldn't even come watch. He would just, you know, it's the car ride home after. How did it go? What could we have done differently? So I feel like it was a balance between, you know, if you're going to do this and you want to accomplish things, you need to put 100% into it. You need to commit to it. But at the same time, you know, you're on your own journey, and we're here if you need us.
Now, Graham, I have to say that I've been very fortunate and blessed with two children. They have gone on to do incredible things, and I'm incredibly proud of their achievements in life. Now, I'm assuming that Mr. Skilliter sits at home in Saskatchewan and watches Hockey Night in Canada and says, "That's my boy, that's my son." Can you think back to his proudest moment? If I had him on camera right now and I asked Mr. Skilliter, what was your proudest moment of being the father of Graham Skilliter, what would he say?
That's a good question. I mean, I would like to think from a hockey standpoint, it would probably be my first game, I would think, when that was completed. Him being able to come into the room, like as we were just getting off the ice, was probably something he'll never forget, that sort of it had happened, you know, like sign a contract and you wait, and then we had a half-year lockout, and then to finally get on an NHL regular season ice and to have everybody there, probably one of the moments. I would think, knowing my dad, he'd probably say hockey right away, but then if he thought about it a little more, probably when I became a father too would be up there, I think, for one of his proudest moments, or, you know, our wedding and stuff like that too. So, you know, family is very important as well.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you know, we've done this today intentionally. We've got first responders on this call. We've got Dexter Rasmussen, who's a City of Vancouver police officer. We've got Graham Skilliter, who's currently an NHL referee. But Graham, if I'm right, you used to be a paramedic?
Yeah, I was a firefighter paramedic in Lethbridge.
Okay, and I was a firefighter as well. And so we've got first responders on this call. So I'm wondering, I'm super curious just to hear from these guys. In terms of like professional experiences, Graham, for you in your former career, Dex, for you in your current career, what are the things in terms of skills and skill development that you've learned as a first responder that translate into your work as a police officer? Graham, for you formerly as a paramedic. Dex, you go ahead.
Yeah, communication. That's the communication and professionalism, without question. I've noticed, I came into the Western League fairly young. I would have been 22, so not much older than a lot of the players. So communication was something that, you know, at that league, at that level, it's not minor hockey anymore. It was an adjustment. I got hired as a police officer when I was 24, and just dealing with people in the worst times of their life makes dealing with an angry hockey coach or someone who's pissed off about a penalty a hell of a lot easier. So that's been the biggest thing I've noticed.
Graham, how about you?
Yeah, to echo, I think that's a great answer. I mean, communication. I've always said that with my job being a paramedic and stuff, that being a referee or an official made me a better paramedic, and being a paramedic made me a better official. And attribute that to very similar, seeing people in their absolute worst days, and having a calmness kind of when chaos is going on around you. When you're dealing with real life situations, being on the ice and having that perspective, kind of like Dex said, makes it a lot easier to deal with people when their emotions are high, and to think clearly and precisely, you know, in a situation like that. So both jobs have helped each other for sure.
I think there's a teamwork aspect too that we pick up on, right? Like, we understand law enforcement, firefighting, EMS, that the concept of teamwork is also crucial. And so you get that on the ice. Dex, you get that in in your work with other police officers. Go ahead, Larry.
I was saying that we talked about stresses and we talked about being first responders, and both Dex and Graham talked about dealing with, and Kirk, dealing with the stresses of the job, and when there's heightened anxiety and frustration and fear and anger and frustration. What has officiating allowed you and given you for skills, life skills, to deal with what's going on the ice, those anger and the frustration? What from the officiating world has equipped you to apply those in your day job, Dex?
I would say the biggest thing is discretion, right? Both being a referee and being a police officer, discretion is a huge thing that you need to have. And is this a situation? Is this a mountain that we want to climb right now, or is this something that maybe we can walk away from and be better off overall, right? So dealing with people in the public, it comes down to discretion. Is this person getting a ticket? Is this person getting arrested today? Is this person doing this? Or would a warning serve better here, right? What's the underlying issue at hand? Same as hockey. Does this person need a penalty right now? Can we deal with this through communication? What can we do to diffuse the situation now so we don't have basically, chaos later?
Graham, same question.
I'm going to steal all Dex's answers. I would say that from an officiating standpoint, I love the communication answer. I mean, it helped so much. The calmness under chaos, and yeah, I'm sorry, I can't really say anything that Dex didn't say. He answered it so well. So,
Kirk, you want to add something to that?
No, I think Dex nailed it. I think discretion is probably the thing that I'm still trying to figure out at 47 years old and in a very different role now with BC Hockey, mostly as an administrator. So had I figured it out in a more comprehensive fashion when I was younger, maybe things play out differently in terms of the hockey you get to work or the depth you get to go. We make cuts with officials all the time. We make decisions based on performance and discretion on the ice and interaction. A lot of that communication, a lot of that is at the top of how we make some of those decisions. So,
well, this brings us to the end of part 1 of 2 in this conversation with Graham Skilliter and Dexter Rasmussen, led by Larry Krause and Kirk Wood. We appreciate everybody listening, and we look forward to sharing part 2 of this in the very near future.